Well, hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Adam, thanks for hanging out with me again today. Today is going to be kind of another chit chat update, what's going on, answer a couple questions type thing. So as far as what's going on, it's not much changed. It's been a very busy week, just between work and stuff outside of work, working around here, blowing leaves pretty much nonstop. The leaves have been the bane of my existence lately, but it's fine. It's only a month or so out of the year, and it is pretty. I throw on my headphones, put on the leaf blower, I got a little backpack blower, and just get out there and blow leaves for a few hours. And I'm getting some exercise, so can't complain. But they just keep coming. Anyway, so I have gotten the Avante Mark II body painted. I need to get decals cut out, but I do have the body all painted up. It looks pretty good. I haven't peeled the protective coating off yet, but I don't see any bleeds. Everything came out looking good, and I did the smoke in the windscreen instead of putting the stickers on like I did the others. So that one is looking pretty good so far. I still have one other body that I'm halfway through painting. I have another body that I have to get the graphics on so I can get to painting that one. But in the meantime, the Plasma Edge 2 has gotten a heart transplant. So I decided that I had this little brushless system sitting around. I don't remember the name of it. It was a cheap system that I got off of Amazon. And I honestly don't remember where I saw it. It was either Brent from Adventure Time had one, or Ryan from RD's RC Adventure or RC Reviews. I can't remember which one it was. Either way, if I can find my order history, I'll put a link down below of it. It's a 3600 kV motor and some sort of ESC. I don't know. Haven't tried it yet. I have put it in here. Seems to run fine. It has a very slow punch. It doesn't immediately sock the power to it, which honestly for the track should be a little bit better. So having that kind of a softer delivery should be a little bit better. It seems to have plenty of wheel speed. We'll see how it goes out on the track. So this one will be going out fairly soon, just to see, is it better brushless? I'm assuming it will be. All we had in here was a torque tune motor before, so I'm assuming brushless power, it should pep it up a good bit. So that should be seen fairly soon. The Arma Granite redo. If you guys haven't seen the video, I went out with Al at Spare Time RC, and while I was there, I drove his Granite around, and it was nutty. This short wheelbase, little square blocky form factor, it just wanted to scream around the yard, rip wheelies, and basically try to flip over top of itself. So before I left, he gave me a 3S BLX system for it. So I got the ESC and the motor in here, and I've had to put everything on here 2 or 3 times because I didn't get all the parts I needed. Finally got all the parts I needed. I got everything put in here, and I forgot to put the stupid heatsink on the motor, which means all of it has to come back out so I can get the motor off the plate and get the heatsink on. So I know how to tear this down pretty quickly now. So basically what I've done is it has the full Metal Gear diffs. So it's got the 4S diffs in here. So it's metal input shaft, Metal Gear diff, Metal Gears on the inside. So gears to diffs should be bulletproof for this combo. So it now has the BLX gear housing with the metal motor plates. It has the Mod 8 gearing in here with the 3S or 4S slipper clutch in there. So everything in here has been beefed up. I even put in the center bearing carrier for the drive shaft to make sure the drive shaft doesn't start getting wibbly wobbly on me. And we have taken it out for a run, and it is kooky, a little too kooky. It's now 3-wheel drive. So I have a Bluetooth drive shaft back here. No big deal. I got a new set of drive shafts for it, so I just had to pull that apart. But yeah, this thing was just ripping the yard up. When I came back inside, it had plugs of grass and dirt stuck to it, and it was a lot of fun. And this was on a storage charge 3S, so it's going to be a fun one. May have to run on 2S for a while to try to save it a little bit. So the next one, I wholeheartedly blame Jeremy at Hey Dad RC for me now owning this silly little thing. So if you guys haven't seen it, this is the Dodo. We're gonna say Dodo. You know, it's D-O-D-O, so I don't know. But anyway, this is their little tiny trike ready to run. Everything's included. It has cool little disco lights in the rear, and it sprays out like a fog out of the rear end. You know, spray function. Normally I only find that in skunks. But, you know, it's comical, and it's just going to be something fun when I'm down here working in the basement and I get frustrated with something. I can pull this down, stick a battery in it, run it around, watch it fart spray all over the place, and tumble and bumble around the basement. Put me in a better mood. So, you know, probably not going to do an unboxing, probably going to do a review video, probably not even going to do a run video with it. If you want to see that, head over to the link down in the description to Jeremy's channel. He did a great overview of it, had it run around the house, and, you know, can show you what it can do. This one for me is just going to be something that I'm going to goof off with and have fun with the spray function. And it says tricycle, RC tricycle with green for Dodo. I hate when my Dodo's green. And ye old BBX. As you guys saw, hopefully you saw. If you didn't, you know, check the video out here. The BBX went back out on the track, ran around. It did pretty well. You know, I did not feel like getting a leaf blower out and blowing the leaves off the track. If I had, it probably would have run better, especially for those first 5 or 7 laps. Those were a little sketchy, sliding around on leaves and really dry dirt. But anyway, from that, I got a question that I thought may be helpful to answer in a video. So the question was, what is a slipper clutch? And, you know, I think a lot of us take for granted that we just know the RC terminology and, you know, what this thing is versus this thing is versus this thing. And, you know, to be honest, with a lot of Tamiya kits, slipper clutches aren't common. You know, I've got dozens and dozens and dozens of them that are just direct drive, no slipper clutch, no nothing. And, you know, didn't really stop to think that, oh, well, I'm probably talking about something that somebody may not know anything about. So I was asked if I could cover what a slipper clutch is. So here is my explanation of what a slipper clutch is and why it's there. A slipper clutch is there to specifically provide some give in the drivetrain to keep you from wrecking things in the gear case. So essentially, in a normal Tamiya, like such, basically there is a gear on the motor, the pinion gear, and that drives the big gear onto the transmission or whatever. In this case, it's a center gear that drives the front and rear differentials, and that's a much bigger gear. So you want the little one on the motor spinning faster because obviously, you know, motors go pretty fast, and you get more torque out of something small turning something big. Now, I'm not going to get into gear ratios and everything. Some of that is even over my head. But in a car like this, there is no give at all if you jump this off of a jump and get these wheels spinning up to full speed and it drops down on the ground. There is no give anywhere in that drivetrain except for the drivetrain itself going when you land. What a slipper clutch is designed to do is when you jump this in the air and you keep on the gas and these wheels start spinning up, you know, faster and faster and faster, when it lands, that slipper clutch is designed to let the gears move a little bit while everything else is trying to catch up. So essentially it's there to do kind of 2 different things. One is to soften the blow of, you know, a hard landing, a on power landing, stuff like that. And it's also designed to take out shock. So as this thing is hopping and bouncing around, you know, every time these wheels get faster than the car and it lands, there is more shock onto the drivetrain components. The gears inside the transmission, the axles, all that stuff is having to absorb all that strain if you don't have a slipper clutch. Now, the other thing you can do with a slipper clutch is you can actually use it to tune how the car drives. Now, in general, I don't think many of us, if any of us, actually do that. The way you should do it, if you're trying to tune with the slipper clutch, is you want, so say like on my track is very dry right now. It's very dusty, and grip is something I don't have a lot of in the corners. So when I'm trying to get on the gas out of the corners, a lot of times the car just starts spinning the rear tires, and the rear end wants to go ahead of the front end because, you know, as the car is turning around the corner, you know, there's centrifugal force pulling the rear end this way, and all of a sudden if the tire starts spinning, well, that rear end just wants to keep going around the corner, and then you have to counter steer up front to try to keep it going in a straight line or around the corner in the arc you want. What you can do with the slipper clutch is you can loosen up that slipper clutch and make it to, there's a little bit of slip when you get on the gas. So instead of just hitting the gas and this thing digging in and taking off and pulling wheelies like it normally would if you didn't have any type of slip action in there, you can actually loosen up that slipper clutch in a very slick area, and it will allow those gears to move freely a little bit, and it'll still be pushing you forward, but it doesn't give it that hard punch like you would if you just squeeze the throttle. So you can use it to tune and soften up the power supply of how much power is getting to the actual wheels from the spinning gears. 99.9% of us, you know, are not racing Tamiya's. You know, we're not out there taking huge jumps and all this stuff. Most of us are tootling around the yard, having fun, taking it on small little tracks and stuff like that. But, you know, that 1% that is actually, you know, trying to drive them to the best of their ability can use a slipper clutch to both add longevity to the drivetrain and tune it as well. Most of us are just going to run it to where it is going to slip a little bit when it has to. Otherwise, it's going to basically give us full power. Kind of the rule of thumb is when you are tuning your slipper clutch, the way I learned how to do it is basically put it on a high grip surface like carpet. So when you're building it in the house, you know, just set it down on the carpeted floor and punch the throttle. If it goes straight up in the air and it doesn't have any kind of like a high pitched whine to it, then your slipper clutch is a little too tight. Now, if you punch the throttle and it just goes whee and the car is barely moving forward, you need to tighten it up because that slipper in there is slipping and not giving it the power it needs. So basically you need to tune it either tighter or softer to where when you give it full gas, it slips for about 3, maybe 4 feet and then fully locks up. So when you hit the gas, it'll kind of go whee and take off. So what's that allowing it to do is it's not going to do this. It's going to slowly apply all that power and get it to where it's able to put all the power down and get you going forward. And that should give you plenty of slip if you're out there in the dirt and on the grass and stuff like that, and you land real hard with these tires going full speed, it will still allow enough slip in that transmission, gears and drivetrain and all that stuff to not break axles or, you know, the end of your axle shafts or strip out teeth on gears. A lot of times that's what happened is you strip out an idler gear or knock a tooth or two off of a spur gear, or you can even just snap a pinion right off of the motor shaft, depending on what, you know, pinions you have on there. But, you know, it is designed mainly to take the abuse out of the transmission drivetrain assembly and make that last a lot longer. And again, you can tune with it. Most people don't. I tend to lean too tight on mine a lot of the times. You know, I don't lock them up, but, you know, like I said, 3-4 feet on a carpet surface on a good, decent motor, you know, it should slip a little bit. You should hear a little bit of whine as it's moving, and then all of a sudden the whine disappears and it just kind of takes off like a rocket. That's the way I learned how to do it. That's the way I can explain it to you guys. So I hope that helped. You know, I'm sorry. You know, like I said, I think a lot of times being in the hobby for so long, dealing with so many people online that have been in the hobby for years and years and years, kind of forget that, you know, some of the terminology that's used kind of goes over some people's heads. So if you ever have questions, don't hesitate to ask. Ask them in a comment below. If you're too embarrassed or shy or not sure, you know, believe me, I get it. There are a lot of online forums that people are just assholes on. Sorry for the language, but there are a lot of people, read the manual, you know, and most people have read the manual. Most people just don't understand either what's in the manual, what they're seeing, or don't understand the terminology. So, you know, if you ever have a question, don't hesitate to ask. Ask it in the comments. If you don't want to ask it in the comments, send me an email. I'll be more than happy to try to help you out. And if you guys see a question in the comments that you think is common knowledge, don't bash on anybody. Help them out. Answer their question. Don't get, no, that's a dumb question. You should know that. You shouldn't be an RC. Don't do that. If you do that stuff, I'm just going to block you from the channel. I'm going to keep you from being able to comment. I don't want that stuff here. You know, I want everybody to be helpful. I don't think there's anybody that follows me that would be a jerk, but, you know, just fair warning. If you're a jerk in the comments, you're out of here. Anyway, guys, I think that's about all I got today. So I hope you enjoyed the, you know, yabbering talking head video. You know, I've still got a bunch of stuff. I have a floor full of stuff down here that either need to be worked on, cleaned, fixed, started. Shelves are full of stuff. And, you know, I'm ordering, you know, Dodo tricycles. So everybody out there, you guys be happy, be healthy, be safe. Have a great weekend. See ya.